And we are in it. We're in it. What is up, Alex? How are you?
I am doing well, Jake. I had a great weekend. How are you doing? How are you doing?
Doing good. Doing really good. Off the top, I do want to mention that
Mm-hmm.
Pippin is in the background,
Oh,
furiously playing with a fish. My cat Pippin playing with
your
a
lovely
fish.
cat. How's my nephew?
You know,
How is my nephew?
he's doing great. He's doing really great. There he is
Mm,
on
that's
cue.
that's perfect podcast ambiance, you know?
Yeah, I thought so. I thought it'd be pretty good. He was fine. He was just hanging out. The second I hit play, he just goes, you know what? I'm gonna bring this floppy fish. It's got battery. We charge it. It's got this fish that flops around, and he just
Mm,
second I hit record, he brings it upstairs and
hmm.
then lays it right at my feet. Thank you, great gift.
Yeah.
And then he just goes crazy. He goes crazy with it, which is awesome. Which is
So
awesome.
he's clearly taking after you. He's a natural performer. When the lights come
Mm-hmm.
on, he comes on,
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah.
know?
Oh yeah. Oh
He's a
yeah.
primetime
So
performer. Yeah.
he really is. He really is. I love him. He's the best, and I'd be shocked if he doesn't jump up here at some point. And I will. But the note was taken. I
Mm-hmm.
still have to figure out the Pippin swipe for transitions. We will figure that out.
It
That'll be a big
happened
thing.
perfectly that first episode. His tail just swiped perfectly across the screen. So if we could get that
Yeah.
again, I think that would be ideal. Yeah.
I think so too. I think so too. Well, cool. I know we just ran through it, but fun little episode we got rolling here. We're going to jump in. I think we go birds. It's the
Mhm.
last, we're recording this August 24th. This is the last gasp before final cuts. So we're going to take a look at the roster. The
Mhm.
birds have been active with a couple moves. We'll chat about that. Mechie, we got Sam Howell's very recent. We're going to see what that's
Mhm.
looking like. Our speculations about the deadline, which you kindly put in here, looks like Tuesday is the final cut down for the 53. I have some ideas. I think you might too about. I think Howie gets even more busy once roster cuts happen and he sees who's been cut from other rosters.
Yeah.
So maybe we can look at that type of thing. And then I thought it'd be fun after that. We go into some NFL predictions, big picture. We're going
Mhm.
to talk we're going to take our final look backwards and look at 2024 NFL award winners. We'll look at some of the criteria and then we're going to look at betting odds for 2025 and just refresh ourselves with who's new, who's the rookies, who's MVP, who's going to be defensive player and so forth. And I think once we do that, you know, classic, just how do we make money out of this? We go right into a fantasy draft. We go right into a fantasy draft
Absolutely. Yep.
and see how that goes. We'll chat Phil's. I know you want to chat that. I love a little note here you mentioned. I think we close it out with a little bit of ideal fall. What's an ideal fall evening?
Yeah.
I know we were chatting about that a bit, so that's good.
And I'll
We
tease
can
a little
dip into
bit.
the league.
I think I may have experienced it on Friday. I think I may have
Ah,
had
yeah, I'm looking at the notes here, and
yeah. So
it
we'll
looks
get to it. We'll get to it. Just a quick little tease. Yeah.
sure will. And then I know we'll save a little bit of room to kind of chat. I think it would be fun if we start doing a second episode throughout the week based around a show or something else, maybe a different topic, because I think this is staying pretty football focused.
Mhm.
But we've done a lot of tangents. Maybe we keep it in this show, or maybe we just broaden out the episodes and we dedicate episodes to a show so we could chat through that as well.
You don't want a full 3 hours every time. You don't want a full 3 hours. It's just a
Well, we
little hodgepodge. No, I think that's much more. That's much more digestible. I think that's wise.
yeah. So all right, cool. Well, I'm going to share screen, and I think we get right into birds and final roster cuts. I've got the link you sent as well. Here's the depth chart. But
Mm,
let's go into it after and maybe jump into this link you said, Bleeding Green Nation.
Brandon Lee Gowton,
And
have to give that credit there as the author of this article here and a trusted source in the Philly media world sphere.
love it. Love it. And so this is his predictions on what the roster is and the final cuts, correct? Am I right here?
Yeah, this is his prediction. So again, the roster cut downs and the actual finalization will be Tuesday, August 26th. So 2 days for us here, but Tuesday, August 26th at 4 p.m. So we will
Mm,
actually know, but this is at least his best guess. And again, he is a beat reporter, and so he's there throughout training camp, throughout preseasons and things like that, keeping a close watch. So pretty good guess, but some of this might change.
yeah. I mean, it's funny with Howie. I think things aged like milk because he's
Right.
constantly doing things. And already I'm looking at this and we traded for Howell. So
Mhm.
the thing I wanted as soon as that happened, thing I wanted to talk to you about is so we've got Hertz obviously locked in. I think Tanner, they are so happy being a two. So to me, Kyle McCord and DTR were
Mhm.
probably pretty bad. I
Very
think for
bad.
one.
Yeah.
Also, potentially there's a thought that maybe Howie has a McKee deal done. And
Mm.
maybe he's
Well,
he's like, okay, McCord is raw. Let's get Howell in here, and we get Howell and McCord as backups, and McKee has a deal signed, sealed, delivered.
so a couple things here. Want to clean some things up, at least for the listener. So Sam Howell was his name is Sam Howell, and he's previously of the Vikings. Before that, especially if you're an Eagles fan, he would have been on the Commanders as well. So that's kind of his background, and he's had a fair amount of starts, I would say, and has been thrust in, but he's still only 24 years old. So a pretty solid thing there. My guess here is this is a bit of information about Tanner McKee is he was injured, so that was part of the reason he did not play. Not serious, I don't think.
Ah,
So I don't know if it's necessarily a trade for Tanner McKee, but maybe insurance because the latter part of what you were saying is Kyle McCord and DTR did not look NFL ready at all, or even preseason ready, really. They looked pretty bad, and so Sam Howell, I think, is there almost as a two, while Tanner McKee maybe rehabs whatever his injury is. But then I think Tanner McKee will firmly be in the number two, and Sam Howell is like break in case of emergency with NFL experience. I just don't think it would come soon because he doesn't know any of the playbook. He hasn't played with any of the players yet. So he just seems like insurance. If anything does happen, that's much better insurance than like Kyle McCord and DTR. And I don't think DTR makes it. I think Kyle McCord is kind of hanging on barely to a job, maybe
yeah.
practice squad. Um,
I'm
yeah.
I'm shocked. I feel like if that is the case and Tanner McKee's hurt and this is an insurance type of move, Sam Howell's still going to need a ton of time to get up to speed
Mhm,
and get on the same page with everybody.
mhm.
So that still makes Kyle McCord the backup, really. Or I mean, or DTR potentially, but I mean,
Well, I
based
guess
on Brandon Lee here, he's looking like DTR is on the way out, and so I don't know. Or even if you do have Jalen, Tanner McKee, Howell, and McCord, that's a
mhm.
lot of quarterbacks. Like that's four quarterbacks, and
I,
then
I got to think Kyle McCord gets practice squad designation because so they carry three, and there's Pip, and he heard.
on cue,
He
on cue,
heard. He go, "You guys talking about the Panthers? You guys talking about the
yeah,
Panthers or yeah?" Um, so Pip and the cat just walked in the screen, and
sure
just
did,
perfect
he
timing.
sure did.
But yeah, no, I think McCord will be practice squad is my guess, and I don't know if he put enough on tape that any other NFL team would really be too frisky about stealing him away on the practice squad.
Yeah, and I'm trying to remember Kyle McCord. When did we draft him? Because we gave up. It was a sixth, but we got back a seventh for Sam Howell. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. And Kyle McCord was a fifth rounder this year, and so he was the Syracuse guy, I
Fifth. Okay.
believe. So we had a
Yeah.
lot of fifth rounders. So this year they took a lot of dart throws in the fifth round. But
Mm-hmm.
I think it looks like Ohio State probably transferred then to Syracuse. It looks like did St. Joe's Prep. It looks like even for a little stint. But yeah, it looks like initially it was Ohio State, and then it looks like he transferred eventually to actually get playing time in Syracuse. So that's where he actually got some tape the past year before getting drafted in the fifth round in this past draft. So he's
Right.
a rookie through and through, and limited.
I
It looks
just.
like college experience anyway.
I mean, between Hal, McCord, DTR, I just like this is such preseason stuff to me. I feel so good about Tanner McKee and
Hmm.
Hurts that I'm like, there's a part of me where I'm like, I'd almost rather us, trade the three of them for scraps, like seventh rounders, and just use the roster spot somewhere else. I feel that good about McKee and Hurts, unless obviously the injury's there, which I
Hmm.
get. But at that point, I'd rather have more of a veteran. Sam Howell still feels like a project to me. I mean, I
Yeah.
know it's been a few years. He got some starts, but I don't know.
I think he's a
It doesn't excite
significant.
me.
I think he's a significant floor raiser in that he can be in an NFL huddle. He's had NFL starts. He's still 24 years old.
Yeah,
But all of this, I'll be honest, is a moot point. I don't know if we need to linger too much longer on the quarterback because Jalen's going to be playing, and probably all of this will be a moot point that we see limited. I think there's a lot
yeah.
more camp battles and preseason cuts that are more impactful to like starters. This is more insurance that we're talking about. I feel like, you know.
Yeah. But I will say Tanner McKee looked like, gosh, I feel like everyone in Philadelphia, like he got the group chat rolling
Yeah.
and it's like shades of Nick Foles where you're like, a tall gunslinger? Are
Hmm.
you kidding me? All right,
He
back
rips
up.
it.
I
He
love it.
rips it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was really fun. So honestly, really good win on that front for preseason for him, for the team. Running back, I'm actually pretty surprised AJ Dillon hung on. Like he was out of the league last year and he's
Hmm.
hanging on to that RB3. And
Hmm.
I think it is surprising to me how much they believe in Will Shipley. I think he's
I'm high on Shipley now. After I think maybe it was the first preseason game, but Shipley and some of the talk around camp, and it seems like I've listened to some of the mic'd up stuff. It seems like everybody likes being like personal coaches. Like even the players are. It's a great culture, and
mhm,
Jalen Hurts was really, it seemed like high on Shipley about where to be on angle routes, how to take an angle route or a Texas route out of the backfield. And
mhm.
I think Shipley has shown enough in NFL games that even mattered, that I think he can really actually even level up this year. So I think they're high on Will Shipley. I think I'm high on Will Shipley, and he's still young, so he's only ascending. So I think that's great.
He reminds me of Danny Woodhead. He's like Danny Woodhead.
You can say he's
He's
white.
like,
He's a white running back.
well,
So
sure,
you
sure,
know.
definitely that. But I meant like pass catching. Like you mentioned the angle route and
Hmm.
like the frame and the angle route is like Woodhead. His whole thing was just getting small little catches that were like
Hmm.
an extension of the run game that were little flare routes and those type of things. And I feel like that's what, but it's interesting to me that that would be the backup. Like that would be the number two.
But I think you're limiting him because his best highlights I feel like he's improving upon that part of it this year,
Mhm.
but I feel like he wasn't even doing that last year. He was hitting it up through the hole, hard
Yeah.
yards, kind of
Big
breaking
runs.
tackles and big runs. Yeah, and breakaway speed through hitting a hole hard.
Conference
So
conference championship was it? I think.
I think so. Okay, well, no,
Commanders.
Was it the Commanders game where they kind of put in the backups at that point, so he was in.
One of those big blowouts. I don't remember.
Mm-hmm.
One of
Mm-hmm.
those big. But cool. Yeah, honestly, how do we make money on this? I think Will Shipley is going to be an awesome handcuff. Like, I think
Yeah.
he's a low key, great handcuff, especially if you get Saquon in the first round and then you
Mm-hmm.
can kind of later in the draft just get like Shipley at the very end or whatever, where less people are going to be inclined to get him. But I mean, if
I
there's an
think he
injury
might
to
even be
Saquon,
undrafted. He said, less people might get him. I don't think anybody drafts him. So he might be available in your league, um, on waivers right away, you know?
yeah. And kind of cool that that Dylan kind of has a resurgence. Like he
Mhm.
was, we've mentioned this on each pod so far, but it's the fact that it's like the theory of Johnny Wilson or the theory of Keely
Mhm.
Ringo or Sidney Brown. I feel like the theory of AJ Dillon is really great. I love it. And
Mhm.
I'm
Mhm.
really happy that they're like potentially sticking with it. I mean, we'll see. Maybe this will age like Melky gets cut or something, but if he is on the roster, I love having it like two, like a big bruiser and then like a smaller do everything kind of back, and then obviously the supercharged Saquon. So
Mhm.
Dylan's a cool complement to that, and obviously the quad father is really cool. Now, Alex, for this next one, I
Mhm.
want to really go in sicko mode here, really
Oh.
deep dive. Maybe this is the first person we have on the podcast because of what we talked about before. Um, but fullback Ben Van Sumeren
Mhm.
is fullback. Honestly, I feel like he would have been heavily utilized in the Super Bowl run if he hadn't gotten hurt. I think
Can I
I think
build
he
on
was
your
a
point?
secret
I would
weapon.
love to build on your point. Jeffrey
Yeah.
Lurie came out and said, after last year and going into this year, we're going to have a resurgence of the fullback position. We're gonna like something along the lines of, and I'm sort of paraphrasing here as a, but something along the lines of like we will reinstate the fullback position, and I think it's because of him. I think, like you're saying, secret weapon. I think even the ownership sees it on the team. So I think in house, I think they love him as a fullback. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm doing my Madden scouting as well, Alex. I know we love that. So I'm
Mm,
doing my Madden scouting and I've got some things to report. So
please, please, yes. This is what we need.
Ben,
Yeah.
this is it. This is it. So Ben Van Zumeren, I know when he first came on this last year is when he really started getting some hype. I think about this time last year. And I believe he was actually even a linebacker, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes,
And
that's
then he
right.
was,
Converted. Yep.
yeah. And so went to fullback. Now, I think when you think of a fullback, there's usually this kind of profile for Ben. As I'm perusing Madden, he has a 92 speed. The guy is a burner. He is
Wow.
like a freak athlete. Like 93 Excel 90. He looks like a safety or like because he has that linebacker profile. He has the
Mm-hmm.
size. He's kind of like a big fast. So what's crazy to me is he's like faster than um Shipley even. It's kind of crazy. So anyway, I think he's a crazy secret weapon that like sure he'll go and lay some awesome blocks and be really solid there, but he could do some crazy play action wheel route type things that I mean, again, we're going real sicko mode here, but I wouldn't be shocked if he has 2 or 3 touchdowns on the season. Like
And
just
I'm looking up 6'2", 231 height weight there. So
mhm.
I mean that's a wide receiver. That's a bigger wide receiver even. 6'2", 230 is like kind of AJ Brown territory, a little shorter, but um that would be awesome. And also he's a guy that he's got the jawline for a 90s fullback. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
real
And that
classic. Yeah.
And at the end of the day, that's what you want.
Mhm.
That is you want to see the jawline. You want to see a fullback that gets in there, buckles up the chin strap,
Mm-hmm.
throws on the cowboy collar,
Yep.
and really rolls the sleeves up and just pile drives headfirst into the line.
I think the last piece of this puzzle for our scouting, you've done an excellent job doing your Sicko
Thank you.
Madden scouting.
Thank you.
I
Thank you.
think
I
we need
really
to
appreciate that.
scour, like you said, we need to have him on the podcast. We need an interview. I want to make
Mm-hmm.
sure that there's a screw loose up top. I want to make
Yeah.
sure that
Yeah.
he's got a little bit of a
A little
switch.
crazy. Little
Little
crazy.
crazy. Can you turn off that humanity there for a second? Between the whistles, you know?
Between the whistles. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I hope he's a great guy. I think he's a great guy, but would be awesome if he had at least just has that switch. You need the switch to be able to flip
mean,
it when you need to.
It's
Between the whistles.
between the whistles.
Yeah.
Between the
whistles.
whistles.
Yeah.
I have to imagine he's there. The linebackers love him. I have to imagine it's there. We just want to confirm. We just want to confirm.
Yeah. Exactly. We should, what I'll do is I'll clip this out and just do like I'll either try and DM him or add him or something like that and try and see if we could get him on. Oh man, that would be incredible. Incredible first guest. We did talk about this. Was it fullback? Fullback was the position, I think.
We're talking about fullbacks, just underappreciated. And I think we said linemen. Even though linemen are starting to get a lot of heat now, just the NFL is so popular. But underappreciated, like not the wide receivers and quarterbacks or the running backs, they're not the playmakers, but like if we could get corners on, like DBs.
My dream guest would have been, and it's almost past the point now. It doesn't make sense now, but my dream guest would have been Jordan Mailata. Would have been
he's too big a star now. Yeah.
The Rabbitohs, he played for the Sydney Rabbitohs rugby team. I had watched them the year before he was there. It would have been poetry.
I can already see the intro in the podcast. I can already hear it in my head. It's ringing. It's almost too loud. It's ringing in my head.
And we could have done Australian accents. Holy shit, that was bad. We could have.
Were you trying to do one there? You just sounded regular to me.
I didn't commit. I didn't
I didn't even pick up on you trying one. If you had said nothing, I wouldn't have even blinked.
I know. It was just this moment. It was like
good eye, good on ya. That's all I got.
When a
good
guy's
eye, good
like,
on ya.
That's good. That is good. It's like when a guy is about to break dance and he's around and he's getting ready to jump in. And he's doing the cross steps, but he's not kicking. He's not lunging in. That's what I did right there. But
you and I both love Harry Mack, the freestyle rapper.
I see your likes every time.
I see your likes. It puts your likes on the top of. I see you comment even. We are big Harry Mack fans.
That was maybe once. What did I comment?
It popped up to the top. I don't know.
I'm sure it
deleted Instagram again, so I don't know.
Good for you. I should do the same.
I went down a rabbit hole last night. You were talking about the break dancer that's like getting ready to jump in. When you see Harry Mack getting ready, like he's dropped the beat, but it hasn't come in yet, and it's just yo 1 2 1 2 yo 1 2 1 2, and he just got everybody's suggestions. He got everybody excited. It's gonna be a great field style rap, and their first impression is him just going yo 1 2 1 2 yo whoa. And then he does blow their mind, but the initial reaction to people is really funny to see him go, "Oh no, is he gonna suck? Is he gonna be really bad?"
To do a little bit of Formula One, F1 foreshadowing here, it's kind of like he's revving the engine. He's kind of he's whipping up the tires so they're sticky for traction. He's just he's getting ready, and then as soon as that beat drops, the lights are just boop. And then he's fucking.
That's a great point. I love that. Boop. Yeah.
Is what he's going.
And that boop, that's like a wide receiver coming off a good stem. That's like an NFL wide receiver coming off a good stem. And when they do that.
What a segue. Am I right?
Let's get into the wide receivers. Let's get into AJ Brown, Devontae Smith. Johnny
Now,
Dotson. This is
yep.
all the top
And
three. That's locked in.
Alex,
Yes, Jake.
your initial read, I think, was right on target there. Your intel on the Johnny Wilson injury
Mm-hmm.
is it's highlighted already. So you know, good and bad thing. I kind of a little bit like this almost. Do you know how serious the injury is? First off, I'll start there.
For Johnny Wilson. Unfortunately, I know it's. I don't know what the severity of it is, but I know he's just going to be out for the year. He is out for the season.
The
So
whole year.
yeah,
Okay.
he's out for the
Okay. Never
season
mind.
is what I saw. I don't even know what he injured. I don't know if there's surgery. So that's why I say I don't know the severity of like, will this ruin his career? I don't know. Because he's a
Yeah.
big
Yeah.
guy. His thing is he's like 6'7".
Yeah.
So do we have Joel Embiid now where he's got bad knees? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I just know at least for this year, thank goodness Darius Cooper really flashed because
Oh my
now I'm not as
gosh.
concerned anymore. Same, we
And
got Mechie. It looks great now. It looks
yeah,
tight.
Anais
Yeah.
Smith and Johnny Wilson were last year's late draft picks, and they
Hmm.
both had a year to kind of get up to speed. And then they had this camp and this preseason to kind of show out. They
Hmm.
both flashed a little bit with Tanner McKee, I felt,
Hmm.
and but who doesn't? And so
Yeah.
the two of them were kind of on the bubble, and then Darius Cooper just stole the show from both of them
Yeah.
as an awesome rookie. And I I started initially by saying it might be a good thing that Johnny Wilson's on injured reserve because it's one of those things where it's like I didn't see enough that I want him like playing, but I'm so tantalized by the ceiling that I don't want somebody else to
Right.
have
Right.
it like to make it work for them. He's kind of like our Mac Collins from
Mm.
years ago where there was something there. We weren't really
Hmm.
sure, and he turned it into an NFL career where he's had like almost 10 years now
Now
in the
Mac
league.
Mac really saved himself with special teams. Mac Hollins did.
Mhm.
I think to your
And
point
blocking.
here, yeah, exactly, blocking. Yeah, and that's a great comparison there with Johnny Melson. And it sounds like we get little kitty cat scratches in the back there.
Yeah,
Little kitty cat
we're getting some
scratches.
playtime. Yeah, we're in the thick of playtime. Again, love
Because
that he.
Pippen loves a tall receiver because
Yeah, he
that's
does.
it's like his scratching post basically. That's tall to
Mm-hmm.
him.
Catnip.
Um, but you were talking about like the end of the roster, like a practice squad person. Johnny Wilson is the dream practice squad guy. He is
Yeah.
your bowl in the NBA. He
Mm-hmm.
is your ball of clay, but like the most amount of clay possible. He's the best developmental player that you can kind of scheme up.
Yeah.
So you like him on like basically the roster spot that is unplayable, right? Because he's not really playable yet, but if he's with the team for long enough and maybe he hits his prime and he's had enough exposure to the quarterback and exposure to NFL, maybe he becomes, like a really high floor guy. But not
Yeah.
this year, not to be. I think the most difficult thing for all of these wide receivers, I thought was Anais Smith. Did everything he could what he could control. He had good punt returns. He had good slant route
Mm-hmm.
touchdowns, and he still got cut.
Yeah. And there's no Covey. There's no
Yeah,
Covey this year. So yeah, he had a shot. And who knows? This isn't final. He might still, but
yeah, he could.
yeah, Cooper just seems like he had so much more juice.
Yeah.
And the ceiling is so much higher. I will just say between AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, love, and then you've got Jahan Dotson, John Mechie, two guys that were highly drafted
Hmm.
that they really liked. There's the familiarity with Mechie and Devontae Smith at Alabama,
Hmm.
and I as two backups that like you put them in the slot or something like that, and they've got you could scheme some things up for both of them. I think John Dotson, even before we got either Cooper or Mechie on the roster, like Dotson was really had a good off season, and this is his first full
Hmm.
season where he's on the team, he's with Hurts, he's taking reps, he's getting continuity, and he already, even without that, flashed in again the conference championship game where
Hmm.
he had that near touchdown, which looked like a really big play to begin the game, and then Mechie's another one where it's like he seems so similar to Dotson last year, where it's like
Hmm.
high profile. He had, if you don't know previously, he actually battled cancer, and
Mm,
he missed a year because he was going through, I think it was chemotherapy, but battling cancer for his like rookie year. Um, and so I think that was part of the reason he fell in the draft, and then also wasn't playing as much, and he kind of lost out to Tank Dell. They brought
yeah.
in Diggs last year. They drafted some guys this year, and it's
Higgins, yeah.
just they
Jaden
wanted some
Higgins.
value to,
Yeah.
yeah, Higgins, yep.
Hmm.
So they just wanted to get some other younger guys some looks, and so I think, man, between those two, Dotson and Mechie, I think they really have a chance to be like they could be almost both of them. Each of them could be a two on a team. They
Yeah.
could be a two.
Last thing I'll say about the wide receivers, or the last thing I have for the wide receivers, is you mentioned it briefly. The punt returning, you see the name Avery Williams down there. He was kind of brought in and hyped up when he first, in the very beginning of the summer, Avery Williams, to be the
Mm-hmm.
punt returner, to be a kick returner and punt returner, and
Yeah.
didn't do anything seemingly in the preseason. And so I'm really curious who the punt returner is now for this team. Could Darius Cooper do that? I know they don't
Mm-hmm.
want Cooper DeJean back there anymore, even though he did it last year.
Dory
Um,
Jackson used to. Dory
yeah,
Jackson used to.
yeah.
But yeah, Shipley maybe does punts. I'm not sure. Maybe Shipley can get in the mix, but yeah, I'd love to see either Cooper or Mechie. Cooper seems like he's got juice. I would, if he returns, I think that's incredible because if you're the fifth guy, you wanna get some minutes somewhere. And as a rookie, I that would be awesome if he could.
Yeah.
So I'd love to see that. I don't know if he did or not, but it'd be awesome to see some of that.
Hmm.
Um, Tight end is interesting because we had the trade as well with Harrison
Harrison
Bryant,
Bryant.
which is how
Yeah.
we got Mechie. But it seems
Which
like he was
kudos to Howie,
access.
because I don't think how like Harrison Bryant would have made the team.
Mm-hmm.
They seemed, because the top two there, Dallas Goddard, obviously, and Grant Calcaterra, have been there for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But Kyle Granson, they seem to like,
Mm-hmm.
and Harrison Bryant, I don't think was ever going to make this team, and he just turned it into Mechie, who we just talked so highly of, as could be a number two on a lot of teams. So kudos, yeah,
Yeah.
just another good
And
wheeling
and
dealing.
also with Van Sumeren too, there's some of that kind of blocking tight end responsibilities are offset a little bit when you're running a fullback around and you kind of have some of that load is taken off of the running back, and tight end are usually the two. It's kind of the in between of those. I always think about the fullback in that kind of way, where they're
Hmm.
half blocking, half playmaking, catching, running type of thing. So, yeah, Harrison Bryant becomes even less important at that point. So, offensive line looks pretty good. Like, hats off to Howie and the crew. I feel like there's a lot of depth here
Yeah, the
that there
one
hasn't.
the one thing is Cameron Williams. I know. Hopefully
Wait,
practice squad.
injured reserve.
Oh, he's on IR though. Okay, that's actually positive. Okay. To me, that's
Eligible to
better.
return.
Okay,
Eligible
good.
to return.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
Good,
yeah.
good, good. I was
A
really worried we'd
shame.
lose him.
International exemption here for what's his name. I want to see it. Oh, and Trevor Keegan. Shame. Really, really.
Last year, yep. He had enough run, but Kennard, honestly, I would have preferred him over Kennard, but Kennard's more proven for this year. Keegan
Right.
to me is like younger, hold on to your guys, cheaper probably than Kennard, but we
Mm-hmm.
probably need Kennard more than we actually need Keegan this year. Love that Howie is using every tool in the tool belt with that international exemption that you just said there
Mm-hmm.
for Lakin, Vakahale, and maybe
Excellent
Vakahale,
pronunciation.
I appreciate it. He could be
Getting
our,
better.
our first guest because
Yeah.
you said we missed the boat on Jordan
Yeah.
Mailata. He's the next Jordan
Uh-huh.
Mailata. I
Uh-huh.
guarantee not a lot of people in the press have reached out to him. Maybe a couple local people trying to get the international story, but maybe
Mm-hmm.
he's our guy that we're like, hey, when you were on international exemption, we knew you were going to be something. We knew.
Yeah.
We've been
That's
on
that's when we reached out
your
at your
team and your
lowest.
side. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
And
right. That's right.
and then 10 years from now, when we've got bookends, Jordan Mailata and the Aussie himself,
Uh,
Lakin, the lake man, the deepest lake we've ever seen,
mhm.
maybe that's when we look back and we go, "Whoa, look at us. Look at us. Couple of Aussie bookends."
Forecasting,
Yeah.
forecasting the future. Yeah,
Yeah. We can breeze through this because I know offensive line people might glaze over as I mean, there once you get past the fullback stuff,
right,
people just glaze over. That's what they're
right.
there for. So
Should we
the
just
offensive line,
title? Should we title the episode "Fullback Talk" just so people click
fullback
on it?
chat. Yeah.
Yeah, just so
Just
people do
for
click
clickbait.
on it.
Yeah,
Right.
well, that'd be funny. We do anti-clickbait.
Love that.
Maybe not the best strategy, but it
No,
could work.
once the hardos really dive
Latch
into
on.
our podcast, yeah, latch on.
We make the clickbait. We go
Hmm.
the other way. It's so
We steer the
unclickable.
ship. Yeah,
Yeah.
we
Not
are
the
the captain
algorithm.
now.
We are the
We are the
algorithm.
captain.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
grab that algorithm and we just say, this is us now. It's you, me, Alex, Jordan Mailata, Leonard Dickerson, Cam, Jurgens, Tyler Steen, Lane Johnson. That's the starters right there. That's the starters. How do you feel Tyler Steen finally winning the position? It
feel
looks
good
like
about it. Yeah,
you feel good?
feel good about. Yeah, and you know what I realized? He put on some weight too. They did like
Mm-hmm.
a in the preseason starting lineup height weight. Literally all of them are 6'6" and above, except for Cam Jurgens in the middle, which is center should be smaller. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Classic Jason Kelsey model, but he is 6'6", 320, and just on par with Landon Dickerson. And then the tackles it's like symmetrical. The heights, weights make sense. Steen has been in the system for a bit. The pipeline is strong. He's an SEC guy.
Mm-hmm.
Check, 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 all the boxes. So I love it.
Yeah. And this is what, year 3 now for him?
Right.
Um, so he got beat up by Becton last year. They were kind of maybe
Mm,
hoping he might make it, but Becton just kind of fell in the laps there. It's just a mauler, pretty awesome. I'm happy he beat out Kenyon Green. I know there was a trade for him. People were kind
mhm.
of, there's some clamorings of like, is this the next Becton kind of thing? Kind of wild though that we traded CJ Gardner Johnson for, Kenyon Green. What was it? Like a fourth, maybe? Something like that?
Yeah, and I,
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, maybe we could look it up when we do our NFL macro predictions here. But I think Gardner Johnson got hurt, so and Kenyon Green got hurt
Interesting.
as
Bullet
well.
dodge. I felt like I love him as a player. I felt like he had that bit of like crazy you need as like a defender, but also I don't know if he was flipping the switch, and I think he kind of rubbed people the wrong way.
Definitely.
Um, and I don't know. I'm reading tea leaves. I'm just completely speculating.
Yeah,
He was an awesome player. The guy is great. We went to the Super Bowl both times he was on the team. So
I think I think
not a
Quinyon Mitchell's
coincidence.
happy that nobody's going to be taking away his
Still pitch.
interceptions anymore. Yeah, stealing picks, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But who knows? Maybe Makuba will be.
Well,
Hello. Foreshadowing. We'll get to it. We'll get to it. I do have some comments there. Cool. Edge rusher. Now, I will say, I was looking up. There was a couple of, gosh, where was this? I think it was NFL. I don't remember, maybe PFF, but they had position groups and they ranked um each position group. And the Eagles, like quarterback, they were like, I think 5. Running back, they were like 2 or 3 or something like that. receiver, they were like top 5, offensive line, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Edge rusher, they were like 28th,
Mm-hmm.
29th as far as like when you look at the whole NFL and you look at
Jake,
the group, their
hey
edge
Jake,
rusher very
good,
low. Yeah.
good,
I
good.
feel the
You
same.
know,
I feel the same.
because
Yeah.
I think a lot of that is people have not appropriately valued Nolan Smith and Jalex Hunt. So I think
Mhm.
those two guys already started their breakout season at in the playoff run and even like in the end of the year. Um, I think those guys have high potential. Like we were talking about balls of clay earlier. Like for edge rushers, those guys are athletic freaks, Nolan Smith and Jalex Hunt. And they just produced and they now both have crazy, crazy confidence. I'm
Mhm.
listening to Mic'd Up of Jalex Hunt. This guy is yammering and he clearly
Love
wants to
it.
take over the mantle of Brandon Graham, who is retired.
Ah,
He's still going to be on the
ah.
sideline, I think. But I think, and Nolan Smith is the same way. I think those two are much higher. I do agree with that ranking that the depth is not great. I don't trust
Mm.
Uche, Ojulari, or Patrick Johnson necessarily. But those two guys, I think, are maybe being under indexed. I think the two of them could actually just by themselves bring up a group to like 15th, maybe even hovering around 12 to 10 in the NFL if they really get to. I'm thinking of the Texans that have Will Anderson and Daniel Hunter or Danielle Hunter.
Mhm.
Um, those guys are top tier, and I don't even know who the rest of their depth is, but that would put them top 5. And that's just because they have two good edge rushers. I don't know their depth.
Yeah.
I think they could become that. I don't think they're there
Yeah.
yet, but they're much younger, so that makes sense.
And to your point, I mean, Nolan Smith, he was a first round draft pick. You know, he was a first round draft pick, and I think he really went under the radar, like because he was our second first round draft pick with Jalen Carter, and
Mm,
then we had Reddick, and he was under the radar. And then last year, I think it was really about the secondary and that group. I think he's had more than anything. And I know we talked about this previously, but I think it was incredible last year that they sign Huff and he just soaks up all of the criticism and all of the hype. And Nolan Smith and Jalex Hunt got to go under the radar the
mhm.
entire season and get a little bit better and a little bit better and a little bit better. And then by the playoffs, they were incredible.
Yeah.
And it was coverage sacks mostly, which I think is part of it. But the other thing is, I just think the team is built in a way that they have so much money in the offense with the line, with the running back, with the receivers, the quarterback. They're
Mhm.
built to, they were the number one rush team. And I think when that happens, that you're able to dictate on defense because the offense is controlling the game so much. It it really dictates what their opposing offense can do. And I think it really lets them have a lot of coverage people and just like tee off, and it it puts less responsibility on the edge rushers to be able to have to stop the run. They can tee off. And I think what Vic likes the most is guys that can drop back and like
Mhm.
just do coverage and do this weird, like, part of the reason I'm not worried is because if we scroll down to linebacker, Bond and Campbell are also edge rushers
That's right.
masquerading in off-ball
Mhm.
guys.
That's
And
right.
so, and maybe even Smile London too. I mean, I know Dean can do a bit of a sim blitz. He's injured, but the same
Mhm.
idea of like these guys are, the point of them isn't to be like a dominating person, it's to be versatile so
Mhm.
that you can disguise coverages and get free blitzes, and you can hopefully get one-on-ones for Carter and like those guys.
I think even, I mean, we're talking about having the inside linebackers bumping out. Even the defensive tackle, like a Ty Robinson, the rookie from Nebraska, or even um, Ojima, who's undersized for a D tackle. All of the front seven look the same, like height, weight. They're all like, because the middle linebackers are 6'3", so are
Mm-hmm.
the so are the outside linebackers, so are the kind of defensive tackles. You're going to be so confused looking as a quarterback, because if we're playing chess, they all look like maybe knights or rooks. We're not really sure. How can they
Mm-hmm.
move? And we talked about in the last episode, Jalix Hunt used to play free safety. He could drop back and be a cloud coverage underneath, and now he's a middle linebacker, even though he lined up as an edge rusher. Um, yeah, to isolate a group is just like an edge rusher, or to call them defensive tackle, or to call them middle linebacker, is just a formality for entering your roster to the NFL. I think they think of these guys in many different ways,
Yeah.
which gives them a lot more flexibility and a lot more depth than it looks like on paper. Like
Yeah.
you're kind of saying there. Yeah.
And it's interesting because like at the end of the day, like obviously the edge rushing group is like lower rated, but you've got the front seven. You've got Nolan Smith, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, uh, and Campbell, all first round draft picks.
Hmm.
So you've got, four first rounders in that front seven. Bond is an all pro. And then you've got Jalix Hunt, who's really proven himself. And yeah, so they do have talent. I think I'm curious what those rankings have defensive tackle for, um, because man, what's crazy, and we'll get into it when we look at defensive like players of the year, like defensive player of the year, like Carter could potentially, like, man, the guy is crazy. Like he can
Hmm.
he's another reason I don't mind the edge rushers being, a little bit slept on, is because Carter is so wild. I know the Philly special, they've got the Ojamites. I'm sure you're
Hmm.
familiar. And I'm happy to jump on that train too. I think the reason Milton Williams got
Hmm.
paid was because he had these two guys next to him that are just wearing people down and
Hmm.
soaking up double teams. And so I think Ojima is going to benefit the same way. And I think partially Jay Lakes and Nolan Smith are going to benefit the same way that I think Sweat was really good, but I think he also benefited from the scheme and those other guys around him, where I think these guys can also benefit. So pretty cool. The one note I will say with Edge is we had Antoine Powell Ryland Jr. He was a rookie, really cool height weight guy. Interesting to see like someone like Patrick Johnson beat him out. Um,
Right.
there's more of like the proven thing there. We'll see how this actually shakes out. But he was a later draft pick.
Could be practice squad.
Ojulari,
Could
what's
could
that?
still be with the could be a practice squad, the extended roster for him,
Yeah.
slower, and he could become like Patrick Johnson, where like,
Yep.
he just kind of bounces around. I know Patrick Johnson got signed last year to the Giants and then came back. So he's on the practice squad, got signed to the Giants,
Mm-hmm.
did not get a ring. You hate to see it. And now he's back
Yeah.
on the team. So maybe that's what Powell Ryland will be, you know.
Yep. And the defensive tackles, I mean, I like love Carter, Davis. Interesting, they put Ojima above Davis. Interesting, but I think Davis is going to have an awesome year. I think he's like, it always takes D tackles 3 to 4 years. He's at that.
Hmm.
He's gotten a little bit better, and he's always done dirty work. Like, I don't think the stats really do it justice. I think the fact that he's so big and strong and can run, like, I think that soaks up so much for the other guys that it lets Bond be an all pro because he could
Hmm.
just run around, and it lets Nolan Smith and Hunt run around and just get one-on-ones on the edges. And so between Carter and Davis, and then Ujima up the middle, love Ty Robinson. I think Byron Young is solid. Gabe Hall is fine.
Gabe's
I'm
Gabe
surprised.
Gabe's a I would say an all pro preseason player. He's had
Is he?
yeah, last
Okay.
year he really destroyed him, and there was another guy last year that like just tore up the preseason. And ever since I'm like, oh, maybe Gabe Hall gets some run, and he's kind of slowly been doing it, slowly working his way up from practice squad to now he's on it. Looks like projected to be on the roster here. We'll see if this actually holds up and see if this is what we get on Tuesday. But Gabe Hall, honestly, feel pretty good about him being a D tackle even.
Yeah. I like that because I know I think part of the Thomas Booker trade was like their confidence in the D tackle room, and so it seems like I mean I'm really excited to see Ty Robinson and what he could do as a
Mm-hmm.
rookie, and then I'm really excited for Ojima who can
Mm-hmm.
kind of come in and get more snaps than he has, and maybe Gabe Hall is Ojima from a couple years ago, where it's like he's just
Yep.
slowly ramping up.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
that'd be kind of cool. Linebacker is Bond, Campbell, Trotter, and then Smile Munden. We've got Dean on the pup. Um, I like this a lot. It's really cool. Like Bond and Campbell are awesome, incredible. Like could be the best linebacker duo in the league off ball, and
Mm-hmm.
have that potential. Still have to prove it. Trotter is an absolute, just like Eagles, just soft spot in your heart where you're just
Mm-hmm.
rooting for him
Mm-hmm.
to do well. And the fact that we got a special teams tackle in the Super Bowl with an axe in,
Yeah.
the a Super Bowl is pretty
Yeah.
special.
It is so
Yeah,
poetic in a way.
yeah, yeah,
The generational institution of the Eagles since Jeffrey Lurie took over.
yeah,
Um, and this might be the best linebacking core since his father was on the team. Um,
yeah, yeah.
because
Most
is
definitely.
there a coincidence there? Because we've grown so accustomed to four D linemen down, hand in the dirt, three linebackers,
Yep.
and no money put into linebackers. And hey, here's this guy that got bounced around the league, and we're gonna pay him for a 1 year deal, and hopefully he hits for our starting middle linebacker. Now it's like, no, 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 no. We have like these versatile 6'3" linebackers that play in space incredibly well and like shrink the middle of the field. But we also have like classic field general archetypes in Jeremiah Trotter and Nakobe Dean. And then, oh yeah, like a Smile Munden, which is like a budding versatile
Ball
sort
of
of
clay.
chess piece. Yeah, ball of
Yep.
clay. So we've never had this kind of depth or versatility, and also just variety of linebackers. It's very exciting for as an
And
Eagles fan.
there's a couple things you mentioned there that I kind of want to go on a little bit of a rant about. 2 seasons ago, everyone was freaking out. The team collapsed. And we lost in the playoffs to the Buccaneers. And I think what didn't get talked about was the fact the team mid-season they did like a reboot mid-season, and I don't think anybody noticed. They brought in Matt Patricia and they came in and they changed from a 4-3 to a 3-4,
Yep.
and
Yep.
changed their entire philosophy of the front seven.
Yep.
And and they did it while they won. They were like came off the Super Bowl loss. They won like 9 straight or something like that, and then they collapsed, and the collapse was almost exactly the same time as they're transitioning to this 3-4 defense. And that was to accommodate the Jalen Carter and the Georgia guys who
Mm-hmm.
were doing that in college. And so I think the biggest thing that has happened from that is like, I don't think it's a coincidence that we ran 4-3, had Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham, all these edge rushers come through and put all this money into Chris Long and all these other people throughout the years, and no linebackers.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time had Malcolm Jenkins or safeties playing those linebackery kind of roles
Right.
because of
Right.
that. And then now that we finally switch to this philosophy, that's when we have linebackers, is because it's
Mhm.
it's a scheme and it's a philosophy that lends for linebackers, and now we have a profile, and it's cool. It's really cool because you're right. It was like it was like 15 years of like a four down lineman just rushing the passer, and like,
Yeah.
and
No,
so it's really
that's
cool to see.
that's a great point. And that's why this year is really exciting too. Is like Vic Fangio's first year was last year,
Yeah.
and it's kind of like we're finally giving him the players for his scheme that he wants,
Mm-hmm.
and you're seeing it in what he values. And he was so happy when they got Jahad Campbell. I just have to imagine that we are going to see some really creative stuff. And I mean, I'm going to kind of tease our fantasy here, but I want the Eagles defense so bad in fantasy football because I think
Mm.
they're going to improve, and I think they're going to create a lot of confusion and a lot of turnovers because of what we're talking about. Like they're finally fitted out the roster, dropping linebackers. Oh, I think we're going to have random interceptions from these guys because the quarterback was like, I thought he was blitzing. I just immediately that was the read, and then all of a sudden balls batted, and then here comes Makuba just watching a ball like just careen into the sky because Jahad Campbell dropped and tipped it. You know,
Yeah. I now I'm curious. So do you think the fall off from Sweat, Milton, Slay, Gardner Johnson all leaving? Do you think I do think there's some room for ascension from young people. You get Campbell, you get Quinion and Cooper in their second year.
mm-hmm.
And now, but do you think they're better than last year, the same, or a little bit worse and
I think.
improving?
Yeah, I think you even missed maybe the biggest one is Darius Slay. Did you
I
say
did mention,
Slay? You did say
yeah.
okay. Sorry. Well, I just want to focus on him because yeah, our coverage was so good last year. And I don't even think Josh Sweat and Milton Williams, um, they did great, but I think a lot of it was because of the coverage, the improved coverage of like really Zach Bond in the middle too,
Mm-hmm.
covering a lot of space and quarterbacks holding on to it. Um, so quite frankly, I'm more worried, I think, about the loss of our secondary members, Gardner Johnson and Slay. But even Gardner Johnson was a bit risky in his play. So Slay is really the only one replacing him is the only one I fear of that
Yeah.
prompt of like, am I worried about any of it? I think Slay, because he communicated really well. He was a terrific leader and captain. Maybe those intangibles are lost in the communication of the secondary, but that's where you're hoping like Quinyon Mitchell can step up, Cooper DeJean can step up, Reed Blankenship can communicate a bit better now that he's got a podcast with Cooper DeJean. Maybe they
There
have
you
more
go.
chemistry, more communication, um, and more trust. Honestly, is what I feel like it'll come down to.
Yeah. Interesting. I know. I didn't realize this till we're looking at it now. But Keely Ringo, he's injured? Is that right? Did you realize that?
That surprised me. That seems like one of those like phantom injuries, so they can sneak him in the
Hmm.
roster because
Ugh.
it says
Ugh.
eligible to return. Um, but
Sweet, sweet
disappointing,
Keely.
disappointing because Adoree Jackson, Jacorian Bennett, and Mac McWilliams have not been on the team for multiple years trying to
Yeah.
get this spot. And
Yeah.
he has.
Yeah.
And the fact that they're all above him, at least in this projection, is like
Uh.
man, he couldn't even get the fourth spot. It's like he
Yeah.
couldn't even. Maybe he does sneak in there by mid-season and like he gets thrust in there and he's not getting beat because we're doing zero coverage in preseason games. And maybe he's much better in his zone coming downhill using 6'2" frame to blow people up. So that's my last remaining hope for Keely Ringo is we use conservative coverages around him and make him look better, he gets his confidence up, and then maybe he becomes a better player. But we're on the last string of hope here for him because
Yeah.
we've felt
Yeah.
like this the last couple years. So I'm not naive or blind to the fact that we've wanted this for a couple years and he hasn't quite done it yet. So
Him
yeah,
and Jordan Davis are the two where the expectations are somewhere and they're just below it,
yep.
on what you wanted, and they're varying levels of expectations because obviously Jordan Davis was a first rounder. I think he's been very serviceable. If Jordan
Hmm.
Davis was a second rounder, people would love the guy. He'd be the best.
Hmm.
He'd be incredible. But the fact
Yeah.
he was like a trade up first rounder, it's like, okay, well, you really got to be like putting up sacks and other things on top of it. And Keeley, gosh, I'm trying to remember now. What was he like? Third round, fourth round? Was that right?
Oh, I thought he was
Something in
towards
that
the end. I maybe just because we had so many
like a
fifths the last like couple years, I just think
it's like a
everybody's a fifth rounder.
day three kind
Maybe
of
I'll guess
guy.
four. I'm gonna guess four. What are you guessing before we
Um,
do it?
what did I just mention? I said four as well. I think four sounds right to
Mm.
me. And it looks like round four, baby. We stuck to our guns. Pick 105, so just outside the top 100. But he was very young as well.
He was
In
21. Yeah,
when he got
yeah,
drafted,
yeah. That's
so
another
he was
thing.
one of the younger.
Yeah, because he's like
So
still younger than some of those guys. Like obviously Dory Jackson, but Jacorian Bennett might be the same age, maybe 23 as well,
yeah,
or
he was
whatever.
another one. It was like a first rounder, kind of quote unquote bust. I wonder if he changes his number. By the way,
Oh,
um,
please,
I
we can't
hope
have any.
so. If he makes the roster, they better give him a better number. And then I'm really high on Mac McWilliams, dude. I
Yep.
think Vic really likes him, and I think he's super feisty. Um, yeah, I'd love to see him. I'm rooting more for Mac McWilliams now than Keely Ringo because now Mac is
Mm.
the
Mm-hmm.
young guy that like he you don't know. It could be anything. It could even be a boat. It's a mystery
Right.
box. So
Right.
Keely Ringo is a little bit of an open box a bit where you're like, all right, well, he might be a boat later, but
He's gonna be a
he's
gunner.
not right now.
Keely
What?
Ringo's a Keely Ringo's a gunner on punt coverage. He is
Yeah.
going to be a gunner again, and you were
Him and
hoping
yeah.
he wouldn't be a gunner, but he's a gunner.
Yeah, him and Sidney Brown, I guess. Who knows? So Reed is probably the biggest lock for sure. And then it's kind of like Sidney Brown, Makuba. Makuba looked awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's a part of me where it's like we miss CJ Gardner Johnson. Makuba looks closer to that to me than Sidney Brown.
Yep.
Like Sidney Brown seems like an interesting pack. I think Sidney Brown is just in the wrong scheme. I think he's just
Mm.
like his skill. I think he's very good. Case in point, his identical twin brother is really thriving. The athletic profile is there. He's flashed, but he's not consistent at all. He, I feel
He
like
gets
he'll
hurt.
have a
He's
big hit.
reckless.
He's reckless, but then he'll also miss tackles, which is annoying because
Yeah.
that's kind of like his thing. Is like he seems like a guy. He kind of reminds me of like a safety version of Dean, where it's like they can just chase guys down. Like
Mm-hmm.
if there's a guy with the ball, they will chase him down and like
Mm-hmm.
hunt them, which I think they're very good at. But if he's like in coverage, I don't really trust him. Like if
Yeah.
he's in like a zone or something or has to do a read or that type of thing, like I just haven't seen it that he's like breaking a coverage and reading something and passing somebody off or whatever. Like he seems like he's constantly going downhill and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes the angles aren't great because he's used to just going after like a ball carrier or something. He's not used
Right.
to like anticipating a route and going out. At least that's what it looks like from my couch is that type of
But
thing.
that's a good couch because it's an L. It seems
Mm-hmm.
like it also has really good cushioning. It's broken in. It's not brand new, so it feels
Exactly.
cozier. Um, so if we're breaking down the couch, like we're breaking down Sidney Brown. I think it's a good spot to do it from.
Uh-huh.
I would add, Tristan McCullum. I've heard Vic Fangio kind of sing his praises briefly, even last year. He's bigger. He's like 6'2". And what have we been saying about all of the front seven people? They all kind of are bigger and all can kind of fit the run. Tristan McCollum does that, but he seems like he's been pretty disciplined in the pass. Even if he's gotten beat, he's been in the right position, and it's just an incredible catch over him. Um,
Yeah.
Also a twin as well, so we
We
root
talked
for
about this
that.
last pod. His
Yep.
brother's really thriving on the Bucks as a corner. And I mean, two fellow twins in the safety room is pretty fun. It's
So
pretty
we've got
fun.
we've got Tiki Barber for Chase Brown, and then we've got Rondé Barber with Sidney Brown. Now Tiki
Uh,
was clearly the best twin for a long time. He was a running back, and running backs make a splash right away.
Early. Yeah.
DBs
Takes
take
a bit.
much longer before Rondé can
Yeah.
make, like a playoff interception that breaks the Eagles' hearts,
Yeah.
like Rondé
And
Barber.
and the McCullum's more of a McCourty safety corner. Look at that.
Do you
The
think do you think
McCourty twins.
being a twin lends itself to being in the secondary because of the communication and trust it requires
Interesting.
in
Interesting. Well,
passing off
there was the
coverages?
Martellus and the Bennett twins, Michael and Martellus Bennett. They were
Michael,
tight end
right.
and edge rushers
Right.
back in the day,
But
and then
yeah.
obviously the running backs with Tiki and Chase. But I don't know. Yeah, I think you got a good competition with you. You know what I mean? So it makes you good
Last thing I would add
accountability.
to that competition in the safety room is Lewis Seen finally made a play in the last preseason game. Too little, too late.
Yeah.
But he is also like a 6'2" bigger safety Georgia guy as
Yep.
well.
Yep.
Always rooting for him. And he seems like a practice squad guy that if any of those guys get injured, he gets bumped up and is kind of fifth man, kind of.
I know. I mean, I know he kind of had a little bit of a bust action on the Vikings, but as far as the Eagles are concerned, in his stint here, he's a lot like um, Dotson. As far as we got him, and it was
Mm-hmm.
late in the season last year, so
Right.
he hasn't even had a full year with the team. So would love him as a practice squad guy, or yeah, just kind of bumping around. Um, to kind of come in for an injury or something like that. I think pretty high on him as like just a backup reserve, special teamer, that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of which, Elliott, man, nothing new there. Charles, I think Charlie, sorry, is I think is he new to the squad? I'm pretty sure we just got rid of one of our guys.
Levito was the previous. Rick Levito was the previous long snapper. And
Yeah,
yeah,
for like a
I know.
decade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know long snappers. At least the Eagles. Yeah, I think he finally retired because he's one of the guys, I think, one of the few that had two Super Bowl rings because he was on the.
Yeah.
You don't think about it or hear about it because he's a long snapper.
With Elliott.
Um, right, right. So, and it looks like Elliott. I guess he was, I don't know, kind of soldiering through an injury last year.
Yeah.
So there was a couple 50-yard makes in the last preseason game that they're like, he's looking back to regular form as the old Jake Elliott. So that leaves me optimistic for the special teams. Not that we have any really significant changes, but that maybe Elliott's feeling better this year.
Perfect. Awesome. I think that was an awesome Eagles chat. I'm excited. We'll see Tuesday what happens. And who knows? There's probably going to be some cuts on other teams that Howie's going to want to jump on. And this might
Mm-hmm.
get shaken up again as well. I hope it does. I hope it does. Like there's a lot of talent there's a lot of opportunities around that time. So, but this is cool. I like seeing this. I feel great about the team. It's obviously probably that corner two spot is the big question mark, but I think they're throwing so much coverage at it that corner two is not going to be in that bad of a spot. Would love it
Yeah.
if it's Mac, but I think with that, maybe we put a pause, and maybe I even cut this episode up. Who knows? And then we go into another episode here with the bigger picture stuff. If you want to do that, and then into fantasy, that could be a kind of fun little thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, if this wraps up the Eagles talk, exciting. We have a upcoming, it'll be a Thursday game. It'll be the NFL kickoff for the first game of the year against the Cowboys. They will do the ring ceremony, and I'm sure we'll have a lot to talk about in the next episode when we're covering the Philadelphia Eagles.
Sure will. So that's gonna be it for this episode. Thank you, and I'll see you next time, Alex.
See you, buddy.